Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Her Playbook with Devon and Jaden. It has been a while.
It's been a month, to be exact.
Yeah, we did a little vlog last time, which was fun, though.
That was fun, but it's always nice to be back in the studio. We've been busy. We just finished our Manhattan Beach Open tournament, which is the biggest tournament of them all, and we had a really good time.
Yeah, we absolutely did. I think that it's so interesting. Like, we think of pressure very differently. Mm-hmm. We always say this. There's like no pressure situations that we really haven't been in for college. Like, I feel like incredibly well prepared. So I never really get stressed in a game because it's like, what's there to lose? I've lost in national championships. What's there to lose? This isn't a big deal.
Sure.
But something about this, I mean, this goes into a whole other conversation, but there was a lot more pressure on this tournament specifically for like AVP League, for points, for Chicago. Mm-hmm. Which was super fun because we like knew that going in, but it didn't affect our play in a bad way in the slightest. If anything, I really wasn't even thinking about it in the moment. Mm-hmm. We just played so well.
Yeah, I agree. It was also so nice to have our friends and family there, and being in Manhattan Beach, it's like our second home. So being there, and then we also got these hats, and they're so freaking cute. We love them so much. And shout out Jody, actually, because she was the one who put these to life. So.
Yeah, no, they look so cute.
So cute. Shout out Jody. And we have some extras, so hit us up.
Yeah, I think playing in front of family and friends is actually the most fun thing ever. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like we're a team that just plays with such joy, and like we laugh and we smile and we scream and we get like competitive, and it's so fun to like let that side out. And so it's nice taking that with us. But you know what we should talk about, actually? The conversation me and you had to have like before Manhattan. You know what I'm talking about? You can take it off and explain it maybe.
So we've been training kind of nonstop since, I don't know, May. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about a little bit about burnout, but we kind of got to a point recently where we were just practicing Monday through Friday and traveling on the weekends, and kind of got to a place of just exhaustion. And it was, I think, a couple of weeks, or maybe like 2 weeks before Manhattan, which was our biggest tournament. And we had just gotten off like 2 weeks of having kind of like just frustrating practices, and just little things were off. And
it's like, it was like teams that we were beating regularly in tournaments. We'd get into these 2-hour practices and we're like losing every drill. And I was like, what? Like, I actually don't understand what's going on.
Yeah. And it gets to a point, it's like, even if it's in practice and you're trying things and working on things, losing is still frustrating.
It sucks.
And it's hard too when like the simple parts of your sport just become hard. And it's like, wow, why do I not know how to pass? Or why can I not serve the ball over the net? Like, it became really frustrating, and I think both of us were feeling it, and so we had to have a conversation about it. So.
Yeah, I think that it was like such a good, like, it was almost like the second it was out there and like put out there and we were able to talk about it, it was like a full release.
Yeah.
And then like the practices just improved from that point on. And I do really believe that having like a couple of strong practices before we went into Manhattan made a huge difference.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I've just seen it. Like, it's way more intentional. It's way more focused. But I think that those things are like really hard to do because it's really hard to feel frustrated for 2 weeks straight of practicing. Yeah. And then like, it's really hard to sit there and have a conversation being like, I'm so frustrated at myself. I'm frustrated how the practices are going.
Yeah.
How can we fix it moving forward? Mm-hmm. But that was just like a moment that I feel like we hadn't had in a while. So it's like, it was good to talk about it.
Yeah, it was good to talk about it and kind of reset our focus and like come together and just be like, let's move forward.
Yeah.
And try to like leave it in the past. And then another thing that helped was having a coach.
Yes.
This weekend in Manhattan Beach, we had a coach in our box, which was the first time we've had one this season.
Yeah.
And it was so nice having another person with us in our corner. And we obviously talk about the support of our family and friends, but having Jose in our box was so nice to be able to like have another person to lean on, especially when it's crunch time and big pressure moments. Like having him was amazing.
I totally agree. I think too, like my boyfriend had said this to me like after our first game, like we played this team that we played in Denver. And like when we played them in Denver, it was like a relatively close game. Even though I felt like we were in control of it the whole time, it was still like really close. And I think that's something that we were like, why are we not beating these teams by a lot more when it feels like we're winning the whole time? And then like right out of the gates, it was a full beatdown. Like we came in like no shenanigans. We were like so intentional and focused every single point. Like we never let up, and it was just straight beat down.
Yeah.
And I really attribute a lot of that to Jose being in our box, because he doesn't let you just like let off one point. Like he's sitting there telling you exactly what you need to focus on for the next point.
Yeah.
And so it's just a good reminder. And so moving forward, I'm so excited to like have that now. And it's like, it's very much shown how big of a difference it makes to have that in our box.
Totally. Yeah.
And I think too with Manhattan, it's interesting because we come off of a tournament where we beat 2 teams that were great teams in Manhattan. And then we lost to 2 teams in 3 that were in the top 6.
Yeah.
That finish makes us a 13th. But then you look at like Huntington and we finished 9th. And I think we won 1 game, right?
I'm trying to think.
I know we broke Bauer, but I can't remember. I think that was it.
Yeah.
Because we just played 1 and we lost the one the next day, and that was it.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, because we lost to Alex and we played Brooke.
It was because it was out of 16.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's like if you really look at it, we had a better tournament in Manhattan, but then we get 13th.
Yeah.
So it's just very interesting. So it's like, I don't like to like, almost when people ask like how we did in Manhattan, I'd rather just say we did like really well and I'm really proud of us.
Oh, exactly.
Rather than saying like, yeah, we got 13th, because that sounds like a bummer. But like in reality, I'm like, no, we did great. Like I'm super happy with the way we performed, which is why I want to keep it going and going to Chicago, which we're waiting to find out.
Yeah, no, I cannot agree more. Like playing beach volleyball is such a funny sport because it's like out of 32 teams, we ended up getting 13th, and we played some great volleyball and had a lot of close matches, and literally one of the best teams. She was top 4. Like we almost won. We beat them in the first set and then lost a close second and then lost 15-11 in the third. And it's like a couple of points. Like we could have maybe changed the outcome
100%.
and ended up placing a higher finish. But I don't know. I'm proud of us. I think we had a good tournament, and we're just hoping and praying to get down to Chicago, which would be another huge tournament and help our chances with making the league. So we're just going to
we're kind of on standby is what we're on.
Which is
because
hard.
We'll find it's. So I'm the most impatient person. So like I literally, the second Manhattan was done, I was sitting there watching our teammate play, and I'm on my phone calculating all of the points to try and figure it out and like know if we make it, if we don't. So we'll find out officially on Friday. Things are looking good, I would say, but like you never know until Friday.
Yeah.
Which all leads to the league, which would be very, very exciting. But I think that, oh my God, I just lost my train of thought. I was going to say something about, something else I was thinking about this weekend is I had like several girls run up to me and say, oh my God, I listened to your podcast. I listened to your podcast. Like, can we take a picture?
Yeah.
And I like really like took a second and I was reflecting on it, and I was talking to my family, and I was just like, it baffles me how like people aren't willing to like really give back to the sport in that sense. I think what is so special about the beach community is because we are like such a small community and there's not a ton of visibility to it. You like those little like interactions mean so much to like every person. And like I remember being the little girl who was running around at the ABPs being like, can you sign my ball? Can you sign my ball? And so it is really such a small world. But I think something that's really special and something that like an agenda that we're trying to push is to continuously grow the sport and to continuously like give back in a sense.
Yeah.
And I think that moving forward throughout this season, that's been like a big emphasis for us. But I also think once this kind of journey slows down for us and we're able to like take a breath, that's something that I'm really looking forward to like doing as almost like a full-time thing instead of like right now I'm so into volleyball that like I'm giving all my energy into that. It's really hard for me to do anything else right now. But I actually am so excited for the next chapter to where this is over, where I still get to be involved in helping give back to the sport, if that makes sense.
No, totally. I feel like that's why we started this podcast is that's our main goal, is to impact the youth and to speak to people and share our experiences and connect and relate to people. So yeah, I think once this waiting period's over, we figure out if we're into Chicago, figure out if we're into the league, I think a lot more things will happen. And it's just, we're in this awkward phase right now where it's like we could either have a packed September to November, or it could be completely
open.
Yeah.
And it kind of is the same with this. It's like we have things and opportunities in potential. So it's like in this waiting period. And it's like, do you fully send and continue doing your thing with the podcast and with the different opportunities we have? Or do we kind of have that waiting period till it all becomes like quote unquote perfect?
Yeah.
So it's very up in the air. But I think that that's something that we wanted to talk about today is like sit here and say I want our sport to grow and I want women's sports to grow, but I think that also involves like continuously talking and discussing women's sports. So I thought that would be a really fun thing to do today.
Me too.
Because I also think there was a statistic and it was about, let me pull it up. Everyone's seen it. That if women were a country, they would have placed third in medals in the Olympics. Wow. Yeah, which is insane. Like, and that women won a majority of the medals.
I know. Actually, I was looking at that, and it's women. The USA women, 67 out of 126 medals. Like that's more than half.
Yeah, I mean,
woman.
And I think of even like what I was watching, and it's like I really, truly only really love to watch the Women Olympics. Like this is where they shine. This is where all of like sports that I don't get to see during the year, which like now I'm going to make a bigger emphasis, especially if I want to say I'm a supporter of women's sports. Like I need to go out and actively do so. Like I need to support the sports. Like I'm watching Katie Ledecky beat everyone single-handedly in the 1500. And actually it was more than that, whatever race it was. But I don't see any competitions throughout the year. And it's like, how am I supposed to expect women's sports and swimming to grow if I'm only a participant or if I'm only a viewer in the Olympics?
Totally.
And I think that goes hand in hand with beach volleyball of like people love beach volleyball in the Olympics. And like, I don't blame you. It's the best sport to watch, especially when it's sitting under the goddamn Eiffel Tower. Like it's unbelievable.
I know.
But people need to support it throughout like the seasons. People need to support the like competitions that are going on internationally. People need to support the players. Like I want the story time of like you see these amazing stories coming out about like the big people in women's sports, like Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark. You see these different Coco Gauff, and like I want somebody to be like that, like pioneer for the beach volleyball world and have somebody's story come out so that they can kind of grow the sport up with them, you know?
No, exactly. I think, like you said, in terms of beach volleyball in the Olympics, that's, what people think of when they think of beach volleyball. Like I was in an Uber the other day and they were like, oh, it's really crowded at Manhattan Beach. But like, what's happening here? And I was like, oh, there's a professional beach volleyball tournament. And they're like, there's professional beach volleyball? I was like, what? Like,
it's crazy.
It's crazy that no one knows, like, especially like for us, like what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, some people don't even know it exists.
It's like it's scary. Like I totally agree. I feel like especially like we'll be traveling somewhere and because a lot of people in Southern California are aware that beach volleyball exists because of the beaches and because it's near them. But there are times where it's like we've been traveling and it's like beach volleyball, that's a college sport.
I know.
That's a sport now?
It's an NCAA sport.
And I'm like, yeah, it's not just for fun. Like people do this and like live and breathe it. And that's what we do. We live and breathe it.
Yeah.
Which is again why it all goes back to like why, oh my God, I'm like already so motivated now. Like it goes back to like I will be a part of like making beach volleyball a bigger sport. It's like a must for me because like it's given me so much in my life and I've been a part of the really small world of it.
Yeah.
Like I can't wait to see what it does for other people when 30 years from now, I'm no longer playing, maybe. I'm no longer playing. And now these girls have even more opportunity for it.
And I think if more people can get on board, especially like everyone in the beach volleyball community and could be like, hey, let's come together and like, let's move as a unit.
Yes.
Like bigger changes will happen. And I think our sport deserves that. Like,
I totally agree.
100%.
So there are some headlines I'm going to read you.
Okay.
And I'm going to just get your raw reactions. And even if you've heard about it, I want to know if you've heard of it.
Okay.
Jordan Childs stripped of medal at Olympics.
Oh my gosh.
What are your thoughts?
Like terrible. I feel so bad.
It's just wrong too. Like timing wise, it was wrong. They got the whole thing wrong.
Yeah. I mean, that was just awful. And I think the biggest thing that stuck out with me with that was everyone shaming her on social media after.
Yeah.
And like all in her comment section, just being like, you never deserved it. This other girl deserved it. Comparing the two. Like, that was awful. Like, so sad.
It's crazy too, because like, what was she supposed to do? Like in both ways, is she supposed to sit there and say, oh, I didn't deserve this medal, let me go give it to the other girl, when it's not her call to make? She would have gotten hate for that regardless. Oh my gosh. And then now she did the right thing. If she reported the mistake within the minute, they did it. They said, yeah, you're right, your score was wrong. So first of all, they got their score wrong in the beginning. Like, why are we already talking about that? Like, go talk to the officials who got this wrong.
Yeah.
But I just can't like imagine, not only for her, like getting stripped of an Olympic medal, she had to ship it back. Like she had it, she had to give it back home. Like they won't let her keep it. And it's like, I remember watching that too, because like the team, like Team USA was so big in the gymnastics. So I bet like having that individual moment for her was probably so huge. And I watched it and she was so excited about it. And then for that to just be gone, and for people to like pile on the top, like of her getting like ruthlessly hated on social media is horrible. But I think that people who know sports and people who have anything like any sort of brain on them will understand that like she did nothing wrong and that she should have that medal. Or even if they disagree that she shouldn't have the medal, she did nothing wrong. No. So,
and honestly, she's one of the coolest like gymnasts ever. And she went
to UCLA.
Yeah, she's a fellow Bruin. She has like one of the coolest attitudes, and she's just like a bad bitch. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, she's just like so cool, and she's like authentic to who she is and herself. And I think she's amazing.
Yeah, me too.
Wait. Also, in the lines of gymnastics, what did you think about Simone Biles showing up and absolutely like crushing it after all the things that were said about her? And the documentary came out. I don't know if you watched it, but what did you think?
I haven't watched the documentary yet. I thought it was just like, what I love is seeing like women band together to bring one person up. And like, I feel like everyone like throughout that whole week of her performances and her competitions were like all on this train of like every little moment she did. It was almost like, I compare it to like how people are treating Leah from Love Island, where it's like every little moment was like the it girl moment. So it's like she would do anything outside of her routine and people were posting it and having it being like a praising moment, instead of, you look back and exactly 3 years ago, anything she did, she could be doing this exact same thing, but people were like hating on her like crazy. So it must have been so cool in full circle for her to be like celebrated in that way.
Yeah.
But I also, for her, I would be like, F you to a lot of you people, because you turned your back on me 3 years ago. You don't get to like love me at my highest now.
Totally.
So I was always a supporter, just so you know, Simone. Like, I always loved you. It's like, I'm not one of those people. Simone. I know you're here. I always loved you. But I did think it was really, really cool.
I agree. I think it's also amazing that she just showed up and was kind of like, you know what, like people have all these things to say, but she just like blocked him out. And like, you could tell she had the support from her friends and her family and the people in her corner. And she just did what she does.
100%.
And like, she just killed it as always.
I also was thinking about how there was this really sad moment I watched, and it was for Team France. And it was like their star girl went out and she was doing all the different events, and she fell on like pretty much every single one of them. And it was like a horrible fall on every one of them. She was crying and she was really upset and distraught, like as she, like 100% as she would be.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking about that, and me and my mom were talking about like, how do you come back from that? Like 4 years later, if she has her shot to do that again, like I would be having the worst PTSD from that, and like the worst fear and anxiety going up and doing those huge performances. So it must have been like a lot of mental training for Simone. Like, to not only like push herself through all the competitions and all the hate, but like knowing that like you went through something really traumatic last time, and like now you're here and it could very easily happen again.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of brings us to another topic of like people judging the best athletes in the entire world on the biggest stage. Like these people online, like trolling the best athletes in the world in their sport. Like,
Like, how could you ever say word?
Like, you're so messed up.
You actually could, like, I'd actually love to see what you would do. Like,
Yeah, like,
if you're in the same position.
You try to flip on the beam right now,
Yeah.
you will die. Like,
yeah, like, it'll just never work out. I think it's insane.
I just have so much respect for all the athletes that played and competed in their sports at the highest level. And I think something else I wanted to talk about, it's beach volleyball, but Melissa Humana Paredes, like, and Brandy Wilkerson, obviously, they won a silver medal, but they did not do it in a traditional way. They actually were in the losers bracket, or lucky losers, and came all the way back up and started playing like their greatest volleyball.
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
I think it is like a huge testament that, like, doesn't matter how good you are, you can have your moments. Like, everyone has their moments. I think what was really, really powerful about both of them, it didn't matter which one was having a harder time. They stuck together the whole time.
Yep.
Whereas like a lot of other teams for the Olympics and beach volleyball specifically, you could see like the nerves and like the stress, and you could see their partners not really knowing what to do. Yeah. Being like, come on, like, let's go. But then you see Melissa and Brandy, and it's like they're embracing and they're hugging and they're like breathing together. They're holding hands. Like, it was so clear that they were so connected. And I genuinely think that the mental side for them too is what got them the medal over a lot of other teams, because they were able to come back together and be okay, rather than some teams who just, it got worse and worse and worse and worse, and then they were done.
Totally agree.
Yeah. Okay. My next one is have you been seeing all of the love stories at the Olympics?
Oh, yes.
Me too.
Oh my gosh.
There's two that I've been thinking of specifically, and it's oh my God, it's gonna annoy me that I forget.
I have
name.
one. Mine's a guy. It's the pole vaulter from Sweden.
Yeah, that 100%.
Duplantis.
Oh my God, and them running into each.
He like wins the world record, like hits the
He like literally barely, as soon as he hit, it's like it sprung him up, and he was gone.
He
like
sprinted right to his girlfriend.
It made me cry, and they've been using the same Taylor Swift song behind all of them, and it's like, oh my God, it brings me to tears.
I know, it's so good.
It's gonna bother me. Let me just find who the track girl's name is.
I think I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't remember her name. Yeah, she like jumps into.
Oh, it's Tara Woodhall. Tara Woodhall. Woodhall. Yeah. Tara Woodhall. She takes it. What I love too about hers is she like took a second, realized what she did, and like the first thing she wanted to do was go celebrate with her husband. Yeah. Honestly, the Olympics, like a lot of it was focused on these amazing love stories, because there was a couple from a couple different countries that also did the same thing. And I just think that it is a huge testament to one, like, your significant other has to be bought into what you're doing and has to believe in you as well, because you cannot have a support system like properly, and you can't have that like doubt in your head, or else like now you have another thing on your plate. Yeah. You know what I mean? And just to see, I could only imagine, like in Tara's case, her husband also competes in the Paralympics, so it's completely different. But like, I could only imagine like what it felt like to know that like that medal is almost shared, because it's like they probably sacrificed just as much to get to the point where you were at as well. So I think that was really cool. And it's just cool to, because like I'm sure you feel the same way. Like we have like these big moments, and like the first thing I want to do is turn to my family, my boyfriend, and being like, look what I just did. I know.
I was gonna say, like, even if it's not your significant other, it's like we were talking about earlier. It's like the people in your corner that literally see like all the shit and the ups and downs that you go through in your sport, in your grind every single day. And then when you do achieve like a great thing, and like for these athletes, like winning in the Olympics, which is probably like their highest stage and their biggest goal, and you just automatically want to like spend and like share that moment with the people that love you and that also have been through all of it. Like, it's so cool. Like, no, I mean, it gives me goosebumps like thinking about it.
Me too. I just think that it's a celebration for everybody. Like it's celebrating this one person and what they did, but it's also like that. It's most of the time, from what I've heard, I've never won an Olympic medal, but like honestly, every time I've won a big competition, or every time, I'll use my own experiences. When I've won a bigger competition, it's never about what I did in that exact moment. It is like, oh my God, the work that I just put in over the past year or the past months, weeks, that led to this moment is so exciting. And even when you don't win the medal, or even when you don't win the competition, but you're able to like reflect back on all of that time you just like spent and poured into that. that's like what makes it so incredible to me. It's never about just like that one moment, even though that's probably the thing you like you remember from it, you know?
And it's never about like the medals or the trophies or like the prize money. It's like, it's the memories that you make and like the people around you that can share it with you. So
yeah, like winning puts you on a high.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, that's just like
that's why people chase it.
that. Okay, this one's a little bit different.
Okay.
Have you heard about the Australia's breakdancer ray gun?
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw it. Crazy.
Okay.
I'm entering 2028.
Seriously. Okay, this is okay. I'm gonna give you my thoughts.
Okay.
Like, I totally see what the world is seeing. Obviously,
Yeah.
She gets on, and it's like like I got like cringed out even just watching. I was like, "Are you kidding?" I was like, me and my boyfriend's sister were sitting there cackling, and it's like, how could you like not get a good laugh out of that and whatever?
Yeah.
But at the same time, oh my God, the backlash this woman is getting is
Oh no, I didn't even know that.
Jaden. Like you've never seen anything like it.
I thought I saw her
Australia even turned their back on her. Like some people, some of the top like news reports in Australia are like we're disgraced by her. We disown her. Like she's not part of us, whatever. And this poor girl, like I saw her post a video the other day and she was saying like, I've never experienced this kind of hate. Like I'm just a break dancer. Like no, I know it's horrible. And so then I got into a really interesting discussion. I know, I'm just a break dancer. I got into this really long conversation with Noah the other day about how basically like is that like a champagne problem of like you're on like this global stage and people are hating on you because, and then what we were talking about is some people argue that like that's what you signed up for. You signed up for being able, like you're put on this kind of global stage, you have to be able to take it. Mm-hmm. I personally disagree, and that could be because we're on some sort of a stage and like we're on social media, so like you could theoretically hate on me, and I'm gonna say like that's not fair. I didn't sign up to be hated on.
Right.
But I understand in some aspect of if I get a bunch of mean comments one day, I have to be able to say like, okay, well, I was okay posting that video. If people don't like it, I have to be okay with that. But I still really disagree with the fact that anybody should be able to just send horrible, horrible messages to someone and cyberbully them until they feel like they're like not in a place, like not worthy anymore, you know?
I think it's messed up. Actually, like there's been so many instances of hate and like people just trashing each other on social media and so many different like forms of like hate and like, but also I think we see it a lot in just everyone who is in a big spotlight, like
anyone.
It doesn't even have to be athletes. Like
no, I was just watching the Love Island reunion yesterday,
me too.
And I thought to myself, this is actually what struck the conversation for Noah and I, is because I was like, yes, people. I understood at first. I was kind of like in my own head. I was like, oh, Andrea is so annoying. Like I thought that to myself when I was watching the show and when I was watching what she was doing after. I'm thinking that to myself. Am I going to go on and text her something horrible and comment something horrible so that she thinks it and she knows it and the world knows it? Yeah. No. But I would never, even though I might not like love her, I would never want someone to go through that. And I feel like when I was watching the reunion, I was like, so many of these people are just broken down. And like social media right now is on this kick of like destroying people. Yeah. And I've seen it with some of my favorite creators. And it's honestly like horrible to watch because like they sign up knowing that like there's a chance they could get some hate and some people might not like them, but they don't sign up thinking that these people are going to attack them like mercifully every single day.
Totally. I saw something, it was Love Island, but one of the girls was like, I walked into it being a super confident person and I walked out of it feeling like depleted
beaten down.
Beaten down and like a completely different person. And that is just terrible. And it's like, it's amazing that something that we see as, you know, social media is like so amazing. You can stay connected and promote the things you want to promote, but it's also a place where lots of people can just be beaten down like over and over again and completely change who they are. And I just think it's so sad. And people should stick up for each other. Totally. And never be the person to write mean messages, mean comments, to to belittle someone. Like, it's just absolutely.
It's also really embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, really embarrassing. There was one time when I, like, a couple, like, if you're ever stalking someone on Instagram, you can, like, if it's somebody famous and you're, like, looking at old comments and stuff, the people that you follow, like, their thing comes up, right? Yeah. And so I was stalking somebody on Instagram the other day, and I was looking through her posts, and it was somebody famous. And one of, like, our mutual friends had commented on it being like, this is so disgustingly embarrassing.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh my God. Like,
what?
First of all, I was like appalled. I'll just tell you who it is really quick. It was Phoebe Gates's post, and it was Tommy Gruelle commenting like, that's so disgustingly embarrassing. And I was like, oh my God, I am like mortified that like we follow each other.
Because
if me and that person ever become friends and they see that me and that person ever become friends is crazy.
Right.
But like I was like, oh my God, I'm actually so disgusted, because that seems like something that like only people with like no profile pictures do, and like random usernames and whatever. But I was just thinking, like, if you ever get caught doing that, just think about how embarrassing that is for you to be like the one hating on someone else. That's horrible.
I mean, it honestly just shows like that person's probably just more insecure and is just trying to belittle someone else to make themselves feel better, which is awful. And don't do that. Like, come on.
No, I know. That was a tangent, but.
Well, Devon, is there anything else you wanted to chat about?
I don't think so. I think that I'm at the point where I'm equally motivated and equally frustrated about the like lack of attention on our sport, or like just really like lack of media. Like I stalk, and I'm not saying like, I don't want it to be a thing where like I should just be grateful for women's sports growing. Like I want to be like reaching for more, and like I am grateful for it, but I also think that it should be on like equal levels with other sports. And getting as much attention. But I even look at like media sites for women, and it's like literally 1 out of every 100 posts are about beach volleyball, and it's only because Snoop Dogg came to one of the beach volleyball matches. And I'm like, there needs to be more than that. Like you have this amazing Manhattan Beach tournament where thousands of people are coming out, and there really wasn't a lot of marketing done. And it's just because it's tradition and it's what people love to go watch and do. Yet there is nothing put out there. Like it really, really aggravates me. And like there's so many like when I post a volleyball video, it does well because people are just interested in the sport in itself. So it bothers me that there's that disconnect. It bothers me so much that it motivates me to be the person who's going to help bring that and like bridge that gap. But I think that's just where I'm at, which is why I'm excited regardless of what happens with in the next coming weeks with our volleyball. Like I'm excited to focus on that part of it.
Me too. Yeah, no matter what happens, if we make the league, if we don't, like it's going to be amazing to travel and do the things we love to do. But if we do get to the off season, like we're going full force. Like we are going to get together and come up with lots of ideas and continue to push the sport where it's
in the right direction. Yeah. All right.
Thank
Thank you so much for watching. We so appreciate it, and stay tuned for the next one.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.